Hey, so we're on chapter 5, talking it over. I did what Mr. Scary said. I stayed in my seat and I thought very hard about what just happened here. First, I tapped on my chin. Then I scratched my head and I strained and strained my brain. But nothing actually came to me. Finally, I tapped on Herbert. Okay, I give up. What just happened here? Why is Mr. Scary so mad at us? Herb did a shrug. I'm not really sure, he said. We dived in a pile of money. Who wouldn't do that? May jumped up and pointed to herself. I wouldn't. That's who. I did not dive in the money pile. Instead, I walked around the edges with dignity and I picked up whatever money squeezed out. Herb looked curious at her. How much money squeezed out? May stood there a minute. None, she said. Exactly, said Herb. May sat back down. Herb looked at the board and sighed. I have a feeling that Mr. Scary really hates our thankful list. May threw her head back. Of course he hates our thankful list, she said. Just look at how stupid it is. She hurried to the board and she read each item out loud. Cranberry jelly in a can, exploding biscuits, Nipsey doodles, rainbow sprinkles, toilet paper, and money. I scratched my head again. I don't see the problem. I think we have a nice little assortment there. May stamped her foot. It's stupid, Junie Jones. Who in the world is thankful for toilet paper? Sheldon raised his hand. I am. My grandpa Ned Potts says that toilet paper was one of the greatest inventions in history, especially after they put that little cardboard rolly thing inside. Yeah, I said, that cardboard rolly thing is a genius. If you put some string through it, it makes a lovely necklace for Mother's Day. Jose jumped up. Plus, if you have 2 of them, you can make binoculars. I make binoculars and spy on my sister, and they really, really work. May did a huffy breath at us. Well, I don't care what you guys say. My mother, Mrs. Mary Murky, says our list from yesterday is ridiculous. She said children are never thankful for the right stuff. And so that's how come she started a brand new thankful list for us. She reached in her pocket and pulled out the list. My mother says if we use this list, we will win the contest for sure. She unfolded it. Who wants to hear it? Who wants to hear the brand new list my mother started? No one raised their hand. But May read it anyway. Our thankful list by Room 1. Number 1. Room 1 is thankful for our mothers who cover us in blankets of warm, fuzzy love and make our hearts overflow with joy bubbles. Number 2. Room 1 is thankful for the happy sound of our mother's laughter as it tinkles through the air and melts like musical snow crystals in our ears. Number 3. Room 1 is thankful for May. The end. May looked up and grinned. I added the last one myself, but I think it fits right in, she said. She folded her list up again and she skipped back to her seat. At first, Room 1 did not say any words. We just stared at each other with curious eyes. Then finally, Lenny spoke up. I think we should stick with the Nipsey doodles, he said. All of the children got relief in our faces. Yeah, me too, we said. May's face looked angry at us. She stomped her foot again. I knew this would happen. I told Mother you people wouldn't listen. She covered her head with her sweater. All of us ignored her. We looked at the board some more. Then all of a sudden, Shirley clapped her hands together. Hey, wait, I've got an idea. Let's put something on the list that every grown-up likes. That way, Mr. Scary will be happier with us, and maybe we'll get more votes. From the grown-up judges. I thought for a second. Yeah, but what does every grown-up like, Shirley? I don't even have a clue. Shirley thought for a second, too. Then she sprang right up. I got it. It just came to me. Nature. Every grown-up loves nature. They love flowers and trees and mountains and oceans and other junk like that. She clapped her hands. Plus, every grown-up I know loves cute little forest animals. Let's put that one on the board. Let's put cute little forest animals. She ran to get the chalk. Sheldon Quick stood up. No, Shirley, wait. My Aunt Bunny is a grown-up, but she doesn't love forest animals. Last summer, she had a run-in with a raccoon. It jumped on her head, and then it just sat there like a hat. He did a shiver. For a very long time, I mean. Herb nodded. My mother doesn't like forest animals either. Last year, we went to the state park, and a squirrel spit on her when she handed him a Frito. She said a bad word. We have it on video. Lenny raised her hand. My grandmother doesn't even like the forest, he said. Last year, we took her camping and she got her fork stuck in a pork and beans can. He covered his face, very embarrassed. She said she was trying to make camp slippers. Or she got her foot stuck, sorry, not a fork. She got her foot stuck in a pork and beans can. That makes more sense. He covered his face, very embarrassed. She said she was trying to make camp slippers. After that, all the other children started telling terrible nature stories too. Shirley hung down her head and went back to her seat. I leaned over and patted her. Don't feel bad, Shirley. Being thankful is just harder than we thought. See, said Jose. He held up his thankful bag. I brought in our TV remote, but now that seems a stupido, he said. He looked over at Roger. I wish I had forgotten mine like you did, Rog, he said. Roger squirmed in his chair. Well, I didn't really forget mine, Jose. I brought in a can of whipped cream, but I squirted it in my mouth before school started. Jose smiled. Who wouldn't? Just then we heard feet in the hall. Shh, shh, Mr. Scary is coming. Mr. Scary is coming. Room 1 got speedy quiet, and Mr. Scary and Lucille walked right in the door, and ha! We did not get caught talking. Mr. Scary took Lucille back to her chair. She fluffed her shiny hair, and she did a spin. I didn't even get in trouble, she said. All I had to do was put my money in the safe, and I had to promise not to throw dollars at poor people. Mr. Scary frowned his eyebrows. I don't really think that was our message, Lucille. We talked about not bragging, and we said that having money doesn't make you better than anyone else. Remember that? Lucille fluffed some more. Nope, she said. Then she skipped in a circle and she twirled herself into her chair. Mr. Scary looked at the rest of us. Boys and girls, I'm sure you all know that diving for money was not a good decision, correct? Correct, we shouted. We did not really believe that, but sometimes it's just better to shout correct. Okay, good, he said. Then if all of you promise to behave like ladies and gentlemen, we'll get on with show and tell. We promise, Mr. Scary smiled. We relaxed our shoulders. When a teacher smiles, everything feels better. All right, chapter 6, Something in Common. We'll read that tomorrow. They're looking for something to be thankful for. I think, who was it? Shirley? I think Shirley was on the right track. But she didn't completely have it. We'll see what they come up with.